All right, so the next thing is, how do you choose your college major? Here are some questions you should ask yourself and do some internal reflecting to decide what the perfect major is for you. Right, so the first thing is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Right, so think about this. Maybe you're in high school, maybe you're already in college, but if you could do anything in the world without failure, I mean, take out all the fears in the world, any obstacles in your way, if you could achieve anything in the world, in terms of a career and lifestyle, what would that be? Right, so take that idea you have of who you want to be as a person and have that as one option of path you should take in terms of what you want to achieve. Now, one thing to note is, when you're young, you never really know exactly what you want to be when you grow up, right? And some of those principles you have aren't really grounded in reality, but still have that as an option, right? So that's one career path for you to take. The second career path for you to take is, what people do you look up to? Who do you aspire to be like? In my particular case, all the way when I was in middle school and high school, I really looked up to founders of enterprise tech companies. I looked up to people like Bill Gates of Microsoft, Jeff Bezos of Amazon, Michael Dell of Dell. I'd read all these magazines about them, from things like PC Magazine and Wired Magazine, all these different stories about how at a very young age, they're very into technology, into computers. They had this hacker mentality, hacking and tinkering with computers and technology. And I read the stories about how they're able to turn that passion, that hobby, into a business, and then into a world-class business, and become billionaires. So at a very young age, I looked up to those people as entrepreneurs. So I was able to take those people I looked up to and said, okay, how can I, Ian, become like them? So I studied them. I got books on them, magazines, everything, their autobiographies. And I devoured all the information I could about them and said, okay, how did this person get from point A to point B? And these people basically laid out the blueprint, right? So the reason I chose computer engineering as a major in 9th grade was because I knew Jeff Bezos and Michael Dell and all these guys and Bill Gates, they had computer technical backgrounds. So I knew I myself, if I wanted to enter the tech space and start my own business in technology, I had to have that kind of background as well. So I knew majoring in those kind of fields would put me in the best path and the best probability of achieving that success, the same success they achieved, right? I mean, by far I'm nowhere close to being a billionaire, right? But I'm a lot closer, right? And I have a major, I chose a major that put me a lot closer without being broke. The next question you have to ask yourself is, how hard is it? I mean, like, be honest with yourself. If it's a really hard field, a really hard major, right? For example, being a billionaire, or let's say you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or a politician, right? How hard have the people you've looked up to, how hard do they have to work to get there? And once you realize how hard they have to get there, ask yourself this: are you willing to work just as hard as they did? I mean, don't BS yourself, right? Are you willing to work as hard as they did? So for example, lots of people want to have dreams of being doctors. But the thing is, becoming a doctor is very, very hard. There's lots of schooling involved in being a doctor, right? You have, besides your bachelor's, you have to go to medical school, then you have to get your residency, right? Then get all these different tests and exams. So you basically have to go to school for 10 years, almost a decade, just to become a doctor. So ask yourself, are you really, really capable and willing to soldier through 10 years of schooling to become a doctor? Right? I mean, because most people who have dreams of becoming doctors end up dropping out because they can't soldier through those 10 years of schooling, right? Whatever it is, right? Whether 10 or 12 years, whatever it is, right? So ask yourself this: are you willing to work that hard? If not, then maybe that's not the major for you. Maybe pick a different major, right? Or maybe you want to be an engineer or a rocket scientist or a scientist, right? Are you willing to work as hard in math and science as the people you look up to achieve the same dreams they did or the same goals and success they achieved? Right? So be very brutal and honest with yourself. I mean, because I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, in terms of school, math and science were not my favorite subject, right? And frankly, they were my worst subjects. But I still chose that major because, first of all, I committed to it. I committed to becoming successful in technology and computers, right? Basically, the technology field, to the point that I did not really care if this was not my strongest subject. Like, I knew I would soldier through it by any means necessary to get to my goal of becoming like a Michael Dell or Jeff Bezos, founding my own tech company. Like, that was my goal. That was my ultimate vision. So no obstacle was going to get in my way. Regardless of how hard the math was, how hard the science was, I was going to soldier through and find a way.